This is our old friend Megan, and she knows us well. We are in Tophatter in San Francisco headquarters. 大家好，欢迎来到看跨境就阿米的阿米秀。我们今天在这个一个 Rocket Marketplace 的 Tophatter， 在他们三藩市总部。我们今天又见到了我们的老朋友 Megan. Nice to meet you again. So the last time we met was that was March, right?
Yes.
6 months ago. What things changed? I mean, we have talked to your COO. We know something more roughly the strategy. So we can know something about more the precise changing?
Yeah, I think what's really exciting is when we spoke in March, we had just transitioned our entire business model for sellers from a system where we controlled a lot of the ways of what was scheduled and how it was scheduled up for auction or for sale, and most recently transitioned into something we call scheduling fee bidding. So it meant that our sellers had more control around the type of exposure, how much exposure they wanted, through a solution where they set their own bids. Very similar to an advertising model, advertising framework. So what has changed is that we've built more on top of that. So in our back-end system, we call it campaigns, and that's the underlying infrastructure that allows sellers to have more control over what is being shown in the main feed and the type of customers that they want to segment and target. In the past few months since we last spoke, we really focused on building out the types of campaigns, and what that means is the main model that our sellers experience on Tophatter is the auction model, which is, payment, right? And what's exciting is that we're breaking that into a couple of new formats. So what's new is buy now, which is a new format for us, and then another campaign type is reminders, which means that sellers can go and see or test certain products and get some sense of demand before they fully invest in selling that product. Above and beyond the overall infrastructure for campaigns, what we've added is some level of segmentation. So right now, if our sellers hop onto the platform, they can actually see some beta related to how you can segment by gender. And that's a new exciting feature for us as well. And I think what's coming up in the future is more of that, which means allowing our sellers to have the tools to really understand the type of customer they're targeting and finding better fit and better match.
I mean, in the past 6 months, I saw you changing, all right? And you mentioned just now there's some more interesting things changing. But at the same time, the competition, the benefit is changing. Walmart, eBay, Amazon, Wish, all the competitors, they are invested on logistics, as we mentioned in the last meeting. So what are you going to do?
That's a great question. I think
it's a warfare.
I think ultimately what's super important is to always revisit our model. And our model is all about discovery, which means that the focus is less on the utility experience of shopping fast and more about the excitement of a customer coming and scrolling through the feed and discovering something new. So when we look at the holistic customer experience, while yes, logistics is important, we don't necessarily have to compete yet on a 2-day delivery cycle. That is not yet the crux or the foundation of what we need to deliver in terms of a customer experience. Our customers, their focus is more on finding products that are exciting. But with that said, we still have built out the foundation of our logistics partnership. So what that means is we have a 3PL fulfillment center in Kentucky who has been phenomenal in terms of allowing our sellers to forward deploy stock so that they can efficiently do last mile delivery. And the average is 3 to 5 days. So again, we're not competing on a 2-day delivery, but we're definitely shortening the end-to-end experience versus coming directly from China to something that is more domestic here in the US. That solution was very effective for our merchants throughout Chinese New Year, earlier in the March timeframe, February-March timeframe, and a partner we plan to use throughout the holiday season as well.
You mentioned the holiday season. What happened in last year? The logistics service, is everything fine? And what you are going to do to prepare for the season is coming?
Yeah.
I mean, this year is something, in the big picture, something, affecting something, we don't mention that. But we know that will affect, right? Last year, 2018, it seems everything is all right, but this year, it seems we have more difficulties. So what are you going to do to handle this, unexpected problem?
I think I'm not afraid of the topic. We should definitely talk about it. I think the discussions between the Universal Postal Union and what's going to happen with EMS are concern for everyone. What we've done at Tophatter is we really have strengthened our relationships with our private carrier providers. For example, and everyone knows this, we work very closely with Shrimp Wang, SF Express, And what we're doing is trying to make sure that if a lot of the volume ends up shifting between EMS and other providers, that we are prepared and ready with a strong solution, not only through SF, but there might be 2 to 3 other partners there that can really provide that direct B2C solution. And then on top of that, really leaning into our existing integration with our warehouse providers to offset some of the risk there as well.
Yes, because we noticed that Mr. Somebody, he makes his decision and will increase the end-to-end delivery fee. I mean, some other marketplaces maybe will have bonus or some other traffic support for these things changing. Are you going to do the same things? I mean, you have any special support for sellers during this period, or you just get better, more cheaper, fast action third-party service provider to call you, or what are you going to do to handle this kind of disaster?
I think that in the current climate of today, it's very easy to get swept up in the day-to-day things that are announced without really understanding the impact and change. And so one of the underlying ways that we think about policy and support for our merchants is we want to do it in a very thoughtful way that builds a foundation of infrastructure to kind of grow in the future. So we don't want to just make a knee-jerk reaction response to what's happening right now. We want to build a solution that helps our merchants 5 years from now.
In
the long term. And so what that means is that it's more of the latter of what you said. For this year in particular, we're focused on these established third-party partnerships and getting the best rates we possibly can for our merchants.
I heard that you are extending your category in more products. So what's the priority? What's the first, pilot category you are going to get involved, and what kind of things you're going to do to sellers to support these things?
Yeah, I think what's really exciting is that we now have a variety of ways to display our products. So the buy now format, the reminders, and we also have something called deal drops, which are front page, main, top of the page feed. A lot of categories that marry a lot with the overall trends when it comes to D2C or brands. I ultimately think the future for us is really leaning into some of these self-branded products. We do have partners in China, and we have a lot of partners in the US that sell these, and I think our customers want that, especially when we look at the format and the potential changes into the buy now format. We have a lot of opportunity to match supply much better, and so I think this is an underserved category that we're really excited about for the future.
You mentioned one interesting words which we talk about it a lot of times all these years, direct to customer DTC model, and not only the marketplaces, but also a lot of other sellers. They're working on marketplace, but at the same time they run their own website. They try to get involved on the e-commerce by themselves. And the fundamental reason is that because the new marketplaces, because support from the social media and technology and also the logistics, they can sell to the customer directly. So what you are going to do to prepare for this, DTC influence?
I think ultimately for us, there are 2 ways to go about it. One, if you are a DTC seller and you really want your marketplace partners to be a strong channel, then that's what we'll do. We'll offer you another solution. You do what you do best, which is sourcing, building your brand. But ultimately what we can do is help you, get traffic and really move your volume. If you're a D2C seller who is relatively new, I think something that could be of potential in the future that we don't have a full solution yet, but something we're exploring, and ultimately because we understand the trends in the industry, is something that is similar to a managed service. So for example, if you just wanted to come on board and say, hey, this is what I've got, and actually just allow us to do the rest. You just plug in your inventory and have us do the operations for you.
So you have discount operation right now?
Not right now, but I think that's something we're excited to explore, because I think we understand for a lot of sellers that, again, they might want to just focus on what they do best, sourcing the inventory, and less about the operations or the front end side, the Shopify model, for example. So I think, when it comes down to it, we're always open to the feedback and what our customers' needs are, and we're hearing this. So I think something to explore in the future is what it could be like if we were to help our sellers manage their operations.
The reason why I mentioned these questions is that now we have sellers through mail. They are all professional sellers. They know the rules from the marketplaces. We call it trading, trading company. But right now, because these sellers, many of them are from the factory or from the original branders.
Right.
They have the product, they have the supply chain, they have the money, but they don't know how to make operation.
Right.
And they don't know how to make localized operation, not only the marketplace's rule, logistics, also the context. So it seems that you're going to get involved of these things.
I think it's an exciting topic to explore. I don't know for sure exactly what it will look like 6 months from now, but I think right now we are working with a few partners of what this could potentially be, and we find that there is success because then you're leveraging everyone's strengths, right? If you're a factory seller who just wants to focus on sourcing great supply, then let's let you do that, right? And let's offer you a solution that works best. So I think it's an exciting topic to explore. It's not something that we're investing a ton in yet, but I think we're very open to it.
It seems that in the future the sellers will become different categories.
Definitely.
The first one we say is sellers from the old world. They are original from the eBay or Amazon. They are familiar with the marketplace operation or the listing organization, something. Okay. The new words, the sellers are from the factory, branding, or some other. They know the product very well. They know the source very well. At the same time, there's other sellers which can help them bridge.
Totally. I think as a platform, our job is to offer sellers, whatever type of seller they are, the tools to succeed. And if there are different types of customer segments in terms of how they want to sell, it's our job to make sure that we can support them in doing that.
Okay, so this is very interesting thing. So at the same time, DTC sellers, they will connect to the other problem, content. We all know the social media now just like the nuclear weapons, all right? It's when if somebody can use it well, wow, it will make huge money, all right? But at the same time, the influencers are always a little bit competitive with the marketplaces. What are you going to do I mean, the strength, how you will use it or you will resist it?
I think that's a really interesting topic. Another thing that we're excited to explore is what it is to support the influencer model. And there's two ways to do it. We could potentially help our merchants brand, and that would be like a managed service model. Or we could help our merchants who have great content and then fill in the operations side. So you might be an influencer who has a product line and you just need somewhere to sell it, and we could be that platform for you as well.
Oh, so it means that influencers who could be sellers on Tophatter.
Yeah, ultimately. So again, this is what I mean. Like, we're really open to whatever type of segment of seller you could be. You could just be, an influencer who's trying to build their own private label. You could be a D2C seller. You could be a distributor. You could be an old world existing, platform seller as well. And the goal for us is to be able to offer the tools so that you can figure out what works best for you.
Wow. So it seems the world is changing rapidly in the past 6 months.
For sure. I think one thing that we want to be thoughtful about is that at Tophatter, we're a relatively efficient but small team, and so we really have to focus on understanding what's going to be high impact, both for the marketplace and our seller community. And so there's so many different segments to play with right now. Sometimes it can feel like there's too much. I think the biggest thing for us is it comes down to building the infrastructure of tools for our merchants, and it comes down to giving them the access to connect with the segments of customers that work best for their supply. And that applies to every single type of seller segment that is out there.
I heard you're going to have one big summer in Shanghai in the coming days. So what kind of big news are you going to announce there? Can we have some leaking? Spoiler alarm.
I think what's really exciting this event is that our CEO, our COO, our VP of Engineering and Product are all going to be there. And what that means is that our seller community is going to get an amazing holistic experience of what's coming for the platform. Because a lot of times I think we want to make sure that we can provide more information on the customer side, because that's what the sellers are here for, to connect with our customers. And so some things that we want to share with our seller community are all the work we've done in terms of making the platform even more exciting for our bidders and buyers. And that means more gamification tactics and leveraging a leaderboard or badging system to really make our customers feel rewarded. And at the same time, we want to mirror that experience for our sellers too. And so something that we're working on is a much more holistic seller incentives program. And that's definitely leak-worthy news. I think that's something that our sellers have been asking for a long time. What it really means to be a VIP seller, what are the rewards and incentives?
Spoiler alarm. I'm listening.
So I think what we're really excited about to share in the 919 event is what that looks like. What are the tiers, what are the rewards that we can offer our merchants, and how can we better support them in their long-term commitment to the platform, because ultimately this is a two-way partnership and our sellers are really important, so we want to make sure we can give back to them.
Okay, one last question, all right? I noticed that you are now extending your business in different models, not only the operation system, not only the category, logistic, or other contents, or influencers. We all notice you are extending your business to a different offline market, new traffic. We notice that even Amazon, eBay, they're all looking for the new traffic. Why you are moving your attention to this kind of business, and what you're going to do in the future? The new traffic, like offline market. What are you going to do your online marketplaces? Why you do that?
It's a really, so I think ultimately, do you have an example that comes to mind for you?
For example, you're just working with some retailers in offline market. Maybe they are also sell on your marketplaces, and maybe they are the one to buy something from you also, like a small business. What are you going to do? I mean, all these new traffics offline market is like different retailers or local branders. They are small business. I mean, there is always some words about say, hey, we have good things from the United States, and we know the market very well, and we have strong contents. What you're going to do to support us? So, what are you going to do? I mean, Amazon is doing something like that. Wish is doing something like that. eBay is doing something like that. Are you going to do something to that?
I think at this point in time, that probably isn't a big focus for us. I think what it comes down to is really the focus around more leveraging the personalization and the matching between our customer and seller segments. Offline, I think, is interesting. I think that's definitely an underserved area that could use our attention, but that's not necessarily a big focus for us right now.
How about the advertisement? The new traffic?
Yeah, new traffic channels. I think ultimately when it comes to that, we are relatively diverse. As you know already, and Sri spoke about, we rely a lot on Facebook. But in the US, we also tap into a lot of affiliate networks, a lot of influencer networks as well. And I think that mirrors our strategy a lot when it comes to the social aspect of e-commerce. We want to make it fun and exciting and engaging and more personalized. So if I see someone that I can relate to, that shops just like I do, then that's that social, emotional connection to the shopping experience. So I think that, to me, is probably more relevant to our model than leveraging or leaning into the offline piece.
So what type of this model will affect the sellers, the Chinese sellers?
Yeah, I think there might be opportunity there. I think ultimately the goal is that if we can continue to get smarter about the type of customer segments that we acquire and diversify our channels, then the sellers can really leverage the tools that we're building to map to those segments better as well.
More precisely about what they are going to sell, who they are selling to sell,
exactly.
And what he like and what he don't like.
Exactly.
All right. So there's few minutes left for you. Anything you want to share with our audience about what happened to you in the past 6 months?
Sure.
You look gorgeous.
I think, I ultimately miss being based in China. It's been an incredible journey after being there for 3 years and then coming back to headquarters and working with our incredible US team. I wish that I could be there in September. Unfortunately, I won't be, but you're going to have an amazing crew, an amazing crowd, and our China team has done a great job in preparation. So if anything, I just want to invite everyone to join us on September 19th. Come and to our event in Shanghai and just learn as much as possible about what's coming up in the peak season.
Why not? Why not Tophatter? September 19, right? 9月19号在上海 Tophatter. Why not?
See you then.
See you then. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks so much, guys.
这个愉快的谈话就到此结束。记得我们刚刚就结束了在 Tophatter 这个一个 Rocking Marketplace 在三藩市的总部。记得9月19号去上海看看他们到底在讲什么。记得看跨境就阿米，拜拜，拜。
看跨境就阿米。